So what I want to say in this video is that the way I express these principles, like let's take the pyramid. It's a language. It's not really a philosophy at all. It's a language, and it's a way of understanding. Just simply understanding something visually. And the thing about the brain, the way the brain works, is that the older part of the brain is visual, is art, and that art is a language. So not using that part of the brain limits or restricts the capacity of the brain to function in ways that is much deeper, much older than the woolly language of thought, of words and thought, which doesn't really have any real meaning. And that's why you see in the reports of the UFO, they sometimes say there was hieroglyphics or drawings on the sides, and you think, why would something so advanced be having drawings on the side embedded in? So in the earlier time, it wasn't really divided. The Celts, the sort of like Buddha, Celtic Buddha, Tibetan. This principle it's just simply a way of expressing visually in how matter works, or how matter functions together with energy. To create balance and harmony, you cannot have the principle of duality. The principle of duality in the third dimension is that something has to maintain balance and cohesion. And the way that works with, let's say, the Buddhist or the Celtic understanding with the pyramid is that this area here has a spiritual resonance, and that is that this area, of course, is supported in terms of matter, but also energy, because energy is matter. In terms of the structure of matter, this area, the foundation, the structure, the base supports the top, but also the top supports the base, but in different ways, not in terms of not in terms of this mass structure, but in terms of harmonic waves and spiritual enlightenment, contact to the higher, to the heavens and the higher dimensions, also bringing this into the equation. So you have the dynamics of matter, so structure, that includes all the wealth of the earth, not only the humans making use of structure, but that they actually are all the creatures and mountains and resources are inside this structure. And so you have the structure, the concept of the pyramid, the structure of the mountain, the earth supports the apex. But the apex is a connection to higher consciousness, to the heavens. So the apex, from its design, you can even see that is so, is generating the necessary wealth, the higher wealth, the higher energy to the base, because that's also part of its construction. And the resonance of the base is transmitting its frequency. So the two are aligned together. Let me try and draw that. It's coming down. Okay? And it's resonating in return. Now the Celtic or the Buddhist principle is that this is not a position, that's why I said earlier in the other video, this cannot be transferred here, because this principle is not of material wealth, it's of psychic, emotional wealth, spiritual wealth, the higher dimension, the higher mind, maintaining balance in the physical order. So the people who thousands of years ago, really before Atlantis, probably maybe during Atlantis, the beings who were in this position in society, they didn't actually own anything. They couldn't own anything because they stood between heaven and earth. The Irish, or the tribe, the three, they stood between heaven and earth, so they're standing between the higher forces and base matter. And so in both, in terms of the original philosophy, it would be impossible to be the owner or even desire wealth for oneself, because that would destroy the balance between heaven and earth. So their position had to be a higher spiritual position, to be free of both, to have free flow between both the base matter, to benefit base matter, but also to connect to the non-material higher force. It's really difficult to put this. Now it's the same with Buddha. The Buddha is also can represent the mountain. the pyramid. Okay. But this is the same. This is the same principle. Drawn as a human form, that the balance, the mind, and the harmony of the body in harmony with the universe. But there are multi-levels of insights within this representation. The higher forces illuminate. This is a real reason why the ancient masters were not to have personal wealth. Because it would corrupt their position, it would corrupt while you're on earth, but it would also destroy the balance between matter and consciousness. And so what the teachers in the time of the Celtic leader, or the masters before the rulers were taking over, is that they would take care of, they would be the caretaker of the wealth of the masses, especially for, like, in times of trouble, like the grain stores of ancient Egypt is an example of that. And then when famine comes, the grain was given out to all the people equally, but also to be the caretaker of the wealth, so that then if anyone in the community would be losing sheep or grains or resources, or some disaster happened, the benefit of all the resources are there to help them rebuild their life, or to help them get started in life. If all layers of society, from the youngest to the oldest, are inside this beneficial structure. Maybe structure is the wrong word, but we live in matter, we're material, spirit incarnate into matter, so you have to be taking care. You're not just mind floating off, you have to be taking care of the physical. But that's sort of the direction I'm trying to. That is that this is the same. The spiritual principle, the Buddha, the higher awareness, the higher development, but is benefiting the consciousness, it's a gate between heaven and earth. And so the individuals here, or the individual, or whoever not a structure has to be here that is beneficial to the total organism or society, or the balance is lost. There has to be, this is actually very dense. This is dense, incredibly dense in spiritual power, in harmonic resonance. And similar to the sun, it transfers this incredible wealth, this harmonic wealth, to benefit the health of the mass. So you can't have one part without the other, but it has to have a harmonic. No part can exist on its own. It's a complete harmonic. So this is where I've drawn the electric flow around the walls of the pyramid.